Right, Cherrywood Podcast, talking about pride in Medway.
Welcome to the Cherrywood Podcast with me, Rachel Burridge.
And the master of podcasts, Simon Burridge.
Welcome everyone to our, I would say Cherrywood Podcast, but it's more of a scrum, isn't it?
There's a lot, it's cosy. It's the last time I'm ever going to be in this room as well.
It is the last time we're going to be in this room, I think.
A historic moment.
Yeah, it is. And so we've got our old friend Vince Maple with us again today.
My goodness. It's great to be back. And you look brilliant that you're giving some time to promote this wonderful thing that we're going to talk a lot about this morning.
Brilliant. And we've got Matt Ramsdon from the KM group.
Hello.
Yeah. All right, Matt. So do you want to give some details about both of you? Because maybe someone hasn't watched your podcast.
What?
You never. I know. I'll tell you what we do first. Hard to believe. I'll tell you what we do first before we start. We'll judge how long you think that is before it falls off the wall. So how long do you think, Matt, before that falls off the wall?
So is this going to be the last ever fall off the wall?
Possibly. I sort of want to be back in the new studio. Vince wants
don't
me to
ruin my
keep
new studio.
Okay, well, I'd say it's got a day left in it.
So you think it's going to last a day?
Yeah.
Wow.
So on the basis I was so wrong, and there's 9 categories, I'm going to guess 9 minutes.
Oh,
Fair enough. So we'll go to our sponsors, and when we come back, the time will start. It'll be 9 minutes.
Today's sponsors are De Medici Associates, Chartered Structural and Civil Engineers.
Based in the UK with a worldwide reach.
Visit their website on demediciassociates.com.
Bond Carpentry, where precision meets creativity.
From bespoke cupboards to second fix carpentry, garden houses, and even the Cherrywood Podcast sign. Call 07738 732 931.
Bond Carpentry, licensed to drill.
This podcast has been brought to you by Snugdubs Camper Van Hire.
Roam the world, park anywhere.
That's snugdubs.co.uk.
And we're back. There we go. Thank you,
Great
sponsors.
I love those sponsors. They're nearly as good as the ones we had last time.
Really?
Yeah.
What ones were they last time?
Last time we did Club Awesome was one of them.
The Club Awesome is still on there, but at the end of the podcast they appear.
We love them.
And so does Pride in, I keep saying Pride in Medway has also got an advert at the end of the podcast.
Brilliant.
Okay, guys, so let's talk about you first, Matt. Tell us what you do and your involvement in Pride in Medway.
Okay, so I'm the senior editor for this part of the world for the Kent Messenger group. The Medway Messenger newspaper falls under my editorship, and the paper has been involved in Pride in Medway since the very beginning. And we're very proud of that. My late colleague, Sarah Clark, was somebody who was a founder member of it, very passionate about it. And every year, we're just super proud to support it and really shine a light on all the great things that are going on with all those unsung heroes from across Medway.
Brilliant. How long has it been going for? Oh, sorry, is that a question that we don't know? 25 years. That's amazing.
And the thing is, now with social media, you can promote it and get a much wider audience. Because, before, I suppose you couldn't really reach absolutely everyone. But now social media is involved, you can actually widen that variety and get everyone involved. In Medway, get everyone in Medway involved.
Absolutely that, yeah. There's so many ways to reach people now, and it goes from strength to strength.
So can we ask a little bit about your background, how you got into what you do?
Into journalism? Yes. Oh, God, there's a long and sorry story. How much time have you got?
All the time in the world, I reckon. At least 9 minutes.
Yeah. I'm always asked why I became a journalist. And I think when my colleagues were asked the same question, they've all got really sophisticated and clever answers. I became a journalist because I'm really nosy.
Oh, right, okay.
I've always been nosy, always been inquisitive, and I've always loved meeting new people who teach me something new. So that's what started me off. Started a work experience with my local paper in a place called Retford in Nottinghamshire. That took me to South Africa for 4 years, where I was a crime reporter for a daily newspaper.
I bet you were busy there, weren't you?
Yeah, I could.
There's the stories there.
Well, the thing is, I've got a million stories, but within 6 weeks of getting back from South Africa, I stopped telling the stories because nobody believed me.
Oh, really?
I swear, I'm not even joking. People would not believe some of the things we got to do and some of the things we saw. Absolutely crazy, but fantastic place at the same time.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm married to South African, so I go back quite a lot as well.
Okay.
Worked in London for 6 years, and then a job came open in Kent as an editor of a local paper. I thought I'd love to run my own paper. And go back to my roots as a ultra local journalist. Said I'd stay with KM for 2 years, and 18 years later, I'm still here.
They must be doing something right then.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, Vince, let's talk about you, mate.
There we go.
We've got 9 minutes easily for you.
We're all right. We're still there. The sign's still up. It's okay.
So, what's your involvement in Pride in Medway?
So, Medway Council is one of the sponsors. We're the headline sponsor this year. And look, it's incredibly important. I love this place. People know that. But actually, loads of other people love this place as well. And I think one of the things that, for me, this process, and this is the second year I'll have the privilege of being on the judging panel, and that is an incredibly difficult choice and difficult process.
Oh, now you've made us nervous.
Yeah, just spoiler alert, you're gonna bring some biscuits to that meeting. It'll be a long one, because it just shows you how many individuals and organisations and groups do extraordinarily amazing things every single day in Medway.
Yeah.
And for them, it's just doing what they do. But for me, just that ability to shine a light, for lots of different reasons. Sometimes people can be a bit cynical about the place they live, wherever it might be. But for me, this is an opportunity to say, look at these amazing individuals, often going above and beyond in loads of different aspects of what they do. And the ability for us as a community to say thank you, to recognise that, and to kind of shine a light on them. Often we use the phrase like unsung heroes, but actually this is a way to not only sing about them. I won't literally be singing on the night, don't worry, but shout loudly and say, we're really proud of what you do to make our community the very best place it can be.
Because I think there can be a lot of negative press, isn't there? And everyone gets drawn to negative press around your towns, around your communities. And this is just very much this is what we do. This is the best of Medway. And look at us. Look at what we achieve, what our community does for everyone. And I think it's a really amazing thing to do. And I think it needs to be promoted hugely.
Unfortunately, that's what sells, isn't it? Depressive stories,
I mean, we spoke about this last time you were on, didn't we?
Indeed. And look, I think what's one of the things that's really good for me is the combination this year of two of those key sponsors being the kind of traditional media of the Medway Messenger, who've got a really important job. They're a trusted local organisation. Yeah. They hold me to account. That's part of their job, and it's the right thing for them to do that. But also to have Cherrywood as one of the sponsors, that kind of new media, again, trusted in a different way. And for me, having both of those in the room saying, actually, whether you're an organisation that's been here for decades or are still relatively new, you care about Medway. You care enough to say proactively. No one forces anyone to be a sponsor. So the fact that both organisations, along with some others, and we'll mention them all before the end of today, have all gone, we care about this place so much, we want to be part of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make about bad press and bad news sells. You'd be surprised with that, because now we've got the tools with Kent Online. We've got analytics. We can see what people are reading, and you'd be surprised that it isn't always bad news. Last year's winners are three lads who helped an elderly gentleman in Raynham. That's a story that was read thousands of times.
Yeah,
but local papers like the KM. Nothing like the Sun, Mirror.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They do come up with local stories, and you usually on the front page you're finding something positive. So it wasn't a dig at.
I don't think it was, but I just wanted to make the point that there is an appetite from the public for good news as well.
Definitely. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And I think especially the KM really does sponsor people and local businesses, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And you get stories in there, you think, I wouldn't never have known that. And you read it online, and the amount of times that things pop up, you say, I know that person. And it's so nice to have that local connection with someone.
Right.
So what some of the things over the years you've been doing it for, well, the awards have been going for 25 years. What are some of your personal favourite stories or memories or standout moments for the Pride in Medway?
from my perspective, I've been lucky enough to be nominated twice, once as in my own personal capacity, which is very generous. But for me, actually, when I was part of the organising team, and somebody else who was on the organising team was here a few minutes ago, Chris, of Medway Love Music, Hate Racism, and we've been nominated a couple of times and got through to the final. I think anybody getting a nomination, again, it's about saying actually our community recognises and values what you're doing. And sometimes, I know speaking to people who have been nominated, some of it is around that journey for them of realising actually what they take as the normal, people really value across all the categories.
It's always a shock for the people that have been nominated, isn't it? You know.
And let's say, spoiler alert, if you're coming particularly to the grand final in April, bring a packet of tissues. Blimey, there are some emotional stories as well. You have to have a heart of stone to not be touched by some of these things. Again, I think a really good example was last year's overall winner. Yeah. You know, and so often national media in particular will be critical of young people. You know, and I said something at the thing last year saying, actually get out your phones, whatever social platform you're on, and just put in the message, 63,000 young people in Medway are doing amazing things, because they are. And again, we saw an example there of 3 individuals, but there will be dozens of other untold stories where that's the same.
Yeah. Let me support that statement, Vince, and I'll tell you a funny story. I should know if it's true, but someone told me this.
If you're saying it, Matt, it must be news.
Someone told me that this was true. And young people, you always hear, the youth of today, they're disrespectful, they're naughty, this and that. And it's like, I personally don't think that. I think young people have always been, generally speaking, have always been pretty okay. In my job, where you deal with a lot of people all the time, I'd say the ruder people or the older end of the spectrum. so the younger people, I think, are never as bad as they're meant out to be. But back to my original point, I was told that in Samuel Pepys's diaries, there's a big chunk of that where he talks about the youth of today. They've got no respect. So it's just a cliche. It's just a stereotype. And with the Pride of Medway Awards, is an opportunity just to dispel that myth and really get behind youngsters and give them a bit of backing.
These youngsters don't go out and go, I'm going to save someone's life today. They just go out and live their lives, and they just want to help out, right?
Yeah.
They see someone in trouble, or they want to do a selfless act, and they do it. They don't think twice about, should I not? Am I going to get attention for this? They just instantly do it. And
I mean, a bit older, but I look at my colleagues in the newsroom, and most of the reporters are early 20s. And they're just a lovely bunch, just kind, nice people. And, I just think that there's a lot of that around, which maybe we don't talk enough about.
And it's only getting better with the way schools are developing as well. Obviously, from when we went to school, Vince.
Indeed. You remember that? We went to neighbouring schools. Not in the same year.
But, I've my eldest son is 30, my youngest son is 8. So I've seen the difference from the schooling of a 30-year-old to an 8-year-old. Talking about their mental health, and they're more open with, even their sexuality. They're more open, and their friends don't care about their sexuality.
That is the big difference.
And it's beautiful, really.
Because our son has to go into school every day, and he's got a peg, and it's called an emotion peg, and you've got all these different emojis on the wall, because that's what kids relate to nowadays. And he has to go and put his peg on one. And the teacher says, okay, 90% of the class are happy. I can handle that. Now I'm going to focus on the children that have put sad or upset or this or that. And then she goes and deals with them separately and says, why are you feeling like this? And that's how they start their day. If she notices, because you can do it any time of the day, you can go in and do it, or you can sneak it on, and then she'll go and speak to these children and say, what's bothering you? And that's how she'll get in, not like the whole class, why are you sad and everything. She'll have an individual discussion with this child and say, can I help in any way? What's going on? And I think that's amazing for children.
It's wonderful.
That's what they need, I think.
That's right, and particularly in the post-COVID world where, my son is 6, so for a third of his life, we were told basically don't do all the things that kids are supposed to do. So that was really challenging, and I think as a society, this has gone far beyond Pride of Medway. As often does, and that's why these podcasts are brilliant, because you go everywhere. That's a great thing. I think schools are much better equipped, and I think actually because of that kind of attitude of young people in a positive way, so there's been a slight refocusing of the Youth Award. So it's now called the Inspiring Youth Award.
Oh,
and it
you
is
managed to knit that up.
Yeah, anyone would think I know what I'm doing. But it is about, for those individuals, whether it's someone who always sees that young person on a litter pick, someone who knows someone who's a young carer, because actually part of the thing about Pride in Medway, it only works if we all turn up for the judging and we go, well, actually, no one's made any nominations. So I'd really encourage, if you think, I'm not sure whether I should do that number, take that time out. Doesn't need to be a long 2,000-word essay. Just get their name in the ring. It's really important we hear all those voices.
That's the thing I wanted to mention. There's probably a lot of people out there that don't even know how that they can contribute to it. So is there any way we can talk about a bit of detail on how they influence the Pride of Medway in any way?
So definitely log on to the website, prideinmedway.co.uk. You can see all the categories there. Particularly recognise absolutely the one named after Sarah Clark. I'm sure Matt will want to say a bit more about that. But absolutely get them in as early as you can. So whenever you're seeing this, get online, log on. It then goes through a judging panel. So it's not one individual, a whole judging panel looks at all of them. And then we talk about the individual awards. And then the biggest, most difficult job is the overall Pride in Medway winner, which is a long, difficult challenge. But actually, to be fair, last year, and Matt was there in the room as well, I think, it was a fairly unanimous view on that last year's particular winner. But I know in previous years, because they are so different things, trying to compare two amazing people doing different things is a bit of a challenge. So we'll all be in that room. So we're all going to work together to do that. But yeah, the more nominations, the better, definitely.
Yeah, so how talking about more nominations, it doesn't matter if one person has been mentioned, does it? Like say, Billy here has been picking up litter for a year and one person has entered that into the Pride of Medway. He'll be judged just as much as someone that's been mentioned 10 times, 20 times.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter.
So if there's something, if someone is there that you feel should be on there and you're going, but he's only going to be me, it talks about that person, still enter it in the Pride of Medway.
Absolutely.
There's no
Pride
silly
in
entries,
Medway.
right? Every person that's done something, if you think, enter them.
Yeah. Don't be shy. Just please enter if you think that person's deserving of something.
Yeah, because it may be something amazing that only one person knows about because you find with these winners that they don't tell many people about it.
We honestly go through the nominations,
Absolutely.
every single one and read every single word before we make a decision. So please take part.
Brilliant.
So regarding the categories, how many, I'm going to really put you guys on the spot now. Do you know how many categories there are?
So there are 9 categories, as in 9 minutes, which this has lasted.
17.
There we go. So that's not worked. If it gets to, I said 33 last time. If it goes at 33, I think I'm one episode behind on that. So there are a couple of new categories. We've changed a couple of categories, but there's 9 overall. Certainly outstanding fundraiser. One of those issues, for many, many local organisations, particularly voluntary sector, times are tough. Mm-hmm. So if there is that individual who has done amazing things, and we've seen some of those challenges, whether it's, and there we go, 18 minutes. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
There you go.
My concern is someone with a heart condition. I have a pacemaker, but someone with a heart condition. So that's why I think we might have to knock that on the head.
That might be the historic last time.
Yeah.
That and I don't want to ruin our new studio.
Don't ruin the new studio. But the outstanding fundraiser, and again, Simon, you raise a really interesting point. It doesn't matter necessarily about the... all the time you do. Blimey.
Bless you.
You were due.
97
I stopped talking all of that. So it doesn't matter. So that's a really good example. So the outstanding fundraiser, it may not be because they've got a 7-figure sum. It may be that they've raised £1,000, but they've done it in an inspiring way.
Yeah.
So again, I think your point around, even if you think, well, I'm not sure whether we should put that in because they only spoke to their neighbours. But actually, if they've done something incredible, we need to hear about it. So,
Excellent.
Oh. So what one do you think, or what categories do you think highlight the spirit of the awards the best? Which, if you had to pick maybe a few.
Oh, that is a... they all mean something, Rachel.
I wouldn't want to... just say one award, to be honest, Rachel, because I just think it's the whole thing. It's the whole evening and sitting in that room and just hearing all the stories.
Okay.
There's so many different acts of kindness and brilliance. I wouldn't want to narrow it down.
So do you not have a favourite? Is there not one that you go, oh, I love this award because so many youngsters come up?
Maybe this is time for me to speak about the Sarah Clark.
let's do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So just to give everybody a bit of background, Sarah was news editor of the Medway Messenger for a great many years. And as I mentioned at the start, she was there at the beginning of the awards, of the Pride in Medway Awards, and she absolutely loved them. When I moved over to take over the Medway Messenger, I sat down with her and said, "Let's talk about the future of the paper. Never mind that. Let's talk about the Pride in Medway Awards." And she was that passionate about it. And sadly, she passed away in 2018 of cancer. Very much missed to this day. Really, she was such a massive presence in the office, and it's just, absolute tragedy. But the awards has a category in her name, which is all about about sports. It's been renamed this year. Let me make sure I get this right.
Was she sporting in her own right?
Well, she was a mad keen fan of Crystal Palace, so no.
Oh dear, sorry about that. That's. We all make
someone has to.
Because it's got a very long title.
That's right. So it's now the Sarah Clark Award for commitment to recreation, sport, health, and well-being.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different things in that as for the award. So a lot of ways to think about who you can nominate. But yeah, it's just sport and getting out and about and being active and healthy. Every year we get loads of entries. I love going through them, and on the evening stuff, I always have a drink for Sarah and think she would love this.
So do you find most of the entries are like people starting up teams, things like that? Managers, managers are usually dads, aren't they, for these youth teams?
It's very much that. It's people who are giving hours of their time on an evening, on a weekend,
taking abuse from parents.
But it's not. I mean, it's not just football.
No, of course not. No,
it's absolutely everything.
Yeah.
We've got martial arts. We've got. I think we had. I want to say polo. I don't know if that's true. Maybe I made that up. Swimming. All sorts of different sports, and just getting kids active. There's nothing in it for these volunteers. They just do it for the love of it and to help their community. And I just love recognising that and rewarding it.
Excellent. So when someone is selected and recognised, how do you go about contacting them, and what will their experience be through to the awards?
Okay, so they'll receive a call or an email from us telling them they've been nominated. Some of them will know about it because their mate will say, "Listen, I'm going to put you forward for this award." So they'll have an inkling you might be coming. But a lot of people just don't know. It's just that someone's recognised that they're doing a great thing and they've anonymously put their name forward. And then the first they know is when the organisers get in touch and say, "Guess what? You've been nominated."
Brilliant.
I'd love we should get some sort of footage of that, of people answering the phone, actually hearing the news, because some of them, they must cry on the phone. They must be so shocked. That must be such a nice moment.
How are we going to do it, Rachel? Break into that.
You don't know why I'm here, but you're going to get a phone call from Matt Ramsdon in 2 minutes.
It's like
act really surprised.
It's like Long Lost Family, isn't it? When Davina McCall comes down, it's like, "Oh my gosh, where's she?"
Why is there someone with a camera out?
This is
very odd. It's just great. It's just great stuff. I mean, they a lot of them, as I say, haven't got a clue they've been nominated, and a lot of them don't think they're doing anything special. As well.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
And there's a great realization when they've been nominated. Oh, maybe I'm doing something special, and it's a great boost to be recognised.
And on social media, there's particularly Facebook, actually, more than some of the other platforms, because Facebook is really community orientated and less like a pit of vipers, like at least one well-known, formerly known as Twitter site. So you have 2 great days. So you have the first day because obviously people are finding out as they go along, but then the second day is where those who have been shortlisted and are invited to the gala event. So you see on socials and just the kind of, not just their response to say, "I can't believe I've been shortlisted," but also all the response from everybody underneath them going, "This is fantastic." And so many times, "You deserve this."
You deserve it, absolutely.
So it's really special. So I don't think, Rachel, we will be able to capture those. We'll probably be breaking into people's houses, which I'm not a fan of, just for the avoidance of doubt.
It's a great story, though, for the paper, isn't it?
Local council recommends breaking into people's houses is not the front page I want next week.
I was thinking more companies and businesses and small charities and stuff like that. That you could get away with, not breaking into people's houses.
Thanks for that clarification. But say, and it's a kind of, we've all got mixed views on social media, I suspect, these days. It is one of those examples where it's social media at its very best. People sharing the link to apply, people sharing the link to say, I've been nominated, people sharing the news that they've been shortlisted, and of course, for those lucky 9 individuals or organisations, that they have won. And for the overall winner, blimey, it's a big thing.
So there's 9 categories and then an overall winner as well?
Yes.
Right, okay then.
That's right.
So 10 winners on the night in April, 4th of April.
But one of them am I right in saying one of them wins twice? He wins the category and he wins the overall?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, right.
So last year's, I'm going to look here just to check I'm not inaccurate. Last year's overall winner in fact, I know they didn't because it was my category last year. So the winner of the category that the overall winners were nominated in, that somebody else won the category, but they won the overall award.
Right, okay.
That's not the same. It does vary, so there's not a kind of rule saying if you win that, you definitely won't win that, or vice versa. Okay. It happened to be last year that somebody else, and last year's, so again, it was in the youth category, so it was Sea Cadets in Victory Academy, who are awesome. And of course, last year, or this current year, we're still in this year, some recognition of the links to the dockyard 40 years ago, and that important link with the Royal Navy. I think that was part of the view from some of the judges. But the overall winner could have won that as well. But I think there was a view to say that it was a fairly unanimous view without telling tales on the judging panel. And therefore, they didn't win the category, they won the overall award. But it will be different in different years. There have been some years where a category winner has won the overall award as well. So there's no spoilers either way.
Excellent. We've had at least one winner on here, haven't we? We've had Kelly from Club Awesome. She won a category once, didn't she?
Yep.
Amazing charity.
And it is a mixture between, it's predominantly individuals, but not exclusively. Sometimes it is particularly voluntary sector organisations, charities, sports clubs. And the Sarah Clark Award, I just want to reiterate Matt's point, that is for anyone involved. So we had Medway Sports Awards last Friday, which again, Kent Online are involved in, fantastic. So all of the winners there could equally be nominated for this award as well. And that recognises coaches, officials, those who are occasionally getting abuse, not from me, but from others.
And you find they're getting younger and younger, those officials.
No, and that's fantastic. And in fact, one of the winners last week, was relatively young compared to perhaps others in the category. So again, it's about recognising all of those individuals and teams and organisations who make a difference to Medway in that particular sector.
So going back to the inspiring young category, inspiring youth category, that's a new category for this year, isn't it? You said. So focusing on young people under 18. Yep. And so how important is it to celebrate their achievements in the community?
Massively so, because again, there is that, hundreds of years ago, there was that default of, aren't the youth of today scoundrels? For the avoidance of doubt, they're not. 99.9% of young people are good, decent people. Some do amazing things. There's one or two who cause mischief and mayhem, and we deal with them appropriately. But that is a tiny, tiny, tiny minority. And this process is about recognising that those who are not just doing amazing things, but going even further. And because it is that kind of inspiring youth, it could be anything from uniformed youth staff to activities they might be doing in their community, young carers, dealing with stuff like community cleanups and, the potential, if you've got a young person in your community or in your family, in your school, who is going above and beyond, who has tackled adversity, put their name forward. Really important.
Another point to make there, Vince, is there's a knock-on effect as well. So if you recognise, you recognise a young person who's done one of those things, and their friends and their classmates see that, it starts a whole chain reaction.
It does.
And
it's something they never forget as well. These kids never forget it.
Absolutely.
Getting an award means it's so much to kids. It really does.
And to people who aren't kids as well. There's a big bit of award up here.
Simon's
fall down there.
No.
Still dining out on it. We got a couple of awards. Yeah, we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
I don't know. Simon's still a kid, so you know.
Yeah, young at heart. That's a good thing. There's not a young at heart award, I'm afraid. So. And as your sponsor, I don't think you can win on.
No, that's a terrible.
But other than that, maybe.
Right, so should we talk about deadline for people to be able to enter? I'm sure you mentioned that just now, but let's put that out there again.
17th.
Yep, January the 17th. So if you get Christmas out of the way, don't forget that you've got a deadline approaching. It needs to be all in on the 17th of January, which is Friday.
So you've got 2 weeks, guys. This is out on the 3rd. So you've got
Happy
2
New
weeks.
Year. Happy New Year.
That's right. Yeah, and just go to the website prideandmedway.co.uk. All the details are there, and please take part.
Because I know some people will sit there and go, "Oh, but it's going to be a long process, and I've got to fill out this form and this form and this form." Yeah. It's not a long process, is it? It is a few questions, and then your description of why you think they should be nominated.
Absolutely.
So it isn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be in tremendous detail. You just need to put forward these people that you think are amazing.
And if you have trouble writing this sort of thing out, put it in Chat GPT first. It will sort it out for you. Changed my life, that has.
And absolutely, I think people will be recovering from the Christmas splurge. Couple of weeks to go. I'm pleased that this is the 3rd of January. I didn't know that. I do now. Obviously, I knew that.
Of course you know.
Of course
we
I know
just
that.
had the fireworks a couple of days ago.
Well done. They were great. Probably. But no, that's right. And again, you will be asked, what is only 3 or 4 boxes. One of them is, have you told the person or not? Doesn't matter either way, but it's helpful for people to know. It doesn't need to be thousands of words, but what it does need to do is just tell us the story, and that can be done in just a handful of sentences. But as long as we've got the detail as a judging panel, because that does make a difference, because there are going to be, hopefully lots and lots of nominations. So we need the information so we can come to a fair decision, which I know we will do.
That's right.
Going back to the sort of the sports award, if a child said, "I want to nominate," obviously they get permission from their parents. Can the parents do it on behalf of a child?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no restrictions there. We really encourage that, because obviously it could be a child who's got a sports coach who they think is fantastic. And so definitely.
And there is only a digital entry. Yes, no paper.
No paper. So go online.
Saving the trees.
Oh, I might enter. For saving trees. I might enter you for that.
It's very kind. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, this is the form here.
Oh, that's
we've got. We've got. Here
I
we
just
go.
thought it was a text from my mum then that you were showing me. Oh, right. Okay. It's a very simple form,
It is
isn't it?
very simple.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I've been fact-checked accurately. Do they know about the nomination is the first drop down.
There we go.
And then very simple and straightforward.
And
Like
800 characters for the reason you're nominating this person.
So 800 characters doesn't go far.
It doesn't.
It's not.
It doesn't.
It's not.
Yeah. So it's helpful to have that there.
Yeah.
Bullet point it. There we go. You get more in.
But just to reiterate as well, I mean, you can write a lot of words or a few paragraphs. Everything is considered. Everything is looked at.
Looked at.
So if you don't feel like writing a long entry, don't worry about it. You will be considered as much as the long ones.
Brilliant.
So this year there's a big focus on the School Community Award. Is this a new award?
That's absolutely another new award. So we've looked carefully at how we deal with young people, and the kind of, obviously we talked earlier on about the inspiring youth, but this is another opportunity to recognise, across Medway we've got over 100 schools, all doing amazing different things. But of course, we need to hear what are those things where people think they're going above and beyond. So again, whether it's a pupil, whether it's a parent, whether it's a governor, lots of people serve as governors on schools. We'd love to hear from them as to say what's happening in their school that they're really proud of, that they want to shout about. So again, would encourage those perhaps who are within the school environment. I say particularly governors, they have a really interesting view of schools. I've been lucky enough to serve as a governor on a few schools across Medway. This is an opportunity for them to shout loud and proud about what's happening in their school.
And why not?
Absolutely.
Good.
Obviously, it won't be as wonderful as the schools we went to some years ago. Although 2 of those could be nominated. Rainham School, Girls and Howard School could well be nominated. Another 100 odd schools are available in Medway
So
in the interest of equality.
Are there really 100 odd schools in Medway?
100. I'm going to say 108. 108, I think.
If you asked me to say how many schools were in Medway, I would say something like 30. Something.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, 16
Yeah, but it shows you how uneducated I am.
There we go. Yeah, 16 secondaries and the rest of primaries.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Okay. You done, Rach? You got any more questions?
I've got some more questions.
Oh, of course you have.
Always more questions.
Can you share any inspiring examples of nominees or winners who've truly made a difference? I know you said obviously last year's winners were fantastic, but is there anyone else that sticks in your mind that you think actually they were amazing? Obviously everyone is, but was there one or two that stick out
Just
for
putting
you?
you on the spot again, Vince. Well, on both you guys on the spot, actually.
I mean, I think if you look, when you've got 2 decades of overall winners,
Wow.
I mean, and they are so different. So some organisations, some individuals. I think just looking back at the track record of that 25 years worth of overall winners, every one of them is an inspiring story to say, blimey, I can see why you've won that. And again, I've only had the privilege for 1 year to sit on the judging panel. I can imagine some of those conversations could go a long time because people will feel passionate about how that individual, that group have impacted. So, yeah, I think I got away lightly last year because actually there was pretty strong consensus. I can imagine in other years, because if you look at all the category winners as well, you go, wow, this is incredible. So actually all of the overall winners, really inspiring.
Yeah, one that really comes to mind for me is, I want to say from 2 years ago, and it was this group of Ukrainian ladies who basically fled their country, ended up in Medway, and they were doing voluntary work to help each other as much as anything else. Being accepted into the community, helped out, and it was so inspiring and really emotional when they got their award. I just thought that's absolutely fantastic, because it just, I suppose it was of its moment that they won,
yes.
but they were just so pleased as well, and just delighted to be recognised, and it meant the world to them.
Brilliant.
So,
I think a friend of ours won an award. It was definitely mentioned in the KM. He's a roofer. And obviously roofers get a bit of a bad.
I remember this.
Really?
Yeah, I remember this, yeah.
So I think he may have entered it twice. I think a church got done over once and they had all the roof done, and he did that for nothing.
Brilliant.
But he also had this guy that got ripped off by another roofer, lost 40-something thousand pounds, all of his savings on a roof. And he turned up with his men, paid for all the materials, done the roof for this guy. Yeah. Good guy.
And, nothing in it for him.
Nothing at all.
Nothing in it for him.
No. But it gets remembered, doesn't it?
Yeah.
People are generous. People are good.
Yeah.
People are good.
We need to celebrate this goodness in people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So sponsorship. So Vince, Medway Council obviously sponsor.
Yep.
Why do you think they need to?
Why
should we sponsor?
I mean, I think, I think firstly as a council, and of course we're recording this at a very interesting time. Obviously we're live because it's January the 3rd. But let's say hypothetically.
I think they don't believe us, Vince.
But broken the fourth. It's a bit like a well-known politics show on a Sunday morning. It's not really on a Sunday morning. Sorry, everybody. So why on earth wouldn't Medway Council be there? And look, we've had to take, as is well documented, not least by our local paper, we've got some difficult financial decisions to take, and we continue to have. But that doesn't mean that we can't do the things which are so critically important. And I think it would send the worst possible signal if the council was to say, we're not going to be involved in the organisational structures that say, isn't this place brilliant? Absolutely, we should be front and centre. And I'm sure there will be people who are critical of us as an organisation. I will defend it till my final breath as council leader, which hopefully will be after January the 3rd. And there are some other great sponsors as well. So for me, it's about, if you look at the organisations, the thing that marries them all together is they are absolutely embedded in the Medway DNA. That, whether that's just for a short period of time, like your good selves, or whether that is organisations like the KM Group, the Medway Messenger, and then organisations like Bridgewood Manor. I know they really value being a sponsor. It's important to their team. They take pride that they're part of the Pride in Medway family. And I know that their team take the nomination and kind of selection process really seriously. So some new sponsors. There's always been a bit of a churn, but there's some who have been there since day one, and the KM group are certainly part of that.
We were touched to be even asked if we could be a sponsor, weren't we? So, yeah.
If people wanted to sponsor, how would they?
So, as if the phone that you saw coming in wasn't by magic. So, Pillory Barn and Miranda is here. You can't see her, but she sat over there. The team at Pillory Barn.
She will lay across the table for us in a minute.
Definitely. They do a brilliant job kind of coordinating and supporting all of the organisations, new and old, in making this happen. Again, Pride in Medway could just stop tomorrow. If everyone went, yeah, let's not do that. But that will not happen because there's so many organisations and individuals who want to tell the story of Medway and absolutely tell the story of the amazing people and individuals. So if there are organisations looking on for the first time going, yeah, we love this place and we want to be part of that, I know they'd always welcome those conversations. And again, we've had some that have come and gone, and that's fine. Some who have been here since day one.
Absolutely. That's probably a good moment just to mention everybody that is sponsoring this year. So we've got Uniper, we've got Medway Council, Bridgewood Manor Hotel, Medway Messenger, National Grid, MHS Homes, Mid Kent College, Syntec Biofuels, and Cherrywood Productions. You know, everyone is doing their bit, and it's fantastic.
We're really looking forward to it.
I can't wait.
Don't know about the judging. I'm a bit nervous about
I'm a bit nervous.
Really?
Do we get tips? Are you going to give us tips on, like what to do? And
It is completely the opposite of that. So each of the sponsors will look after a category, but we all read the other 8 as well.
Okay.
In part because we need to come to a conclusion over
the overall
winner.
The hardest part of it will be choosing a winner.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're going to be conflicted.
Of course.
There's going to be you're getting down to 3 or 4.
Be conflicted race, is it?
oh God, no. We have to come up with one as well.
You might get to one and think, oh, let's toss a coin because we can't choose.
Yeah.
Because there are so many good entries.
Are we going to have to bring tissues that day as well?
I would imagine so.
Yes, reading it for the first time. My goodness me. Yes. And and the fact that people have taken the time to make those nominations. This is not the individual writing about themselves.
No.
Somebody, whoever they are, have gone, that person or individual or organisation matters so much. I want to take some time out to share this and say this is really important to me and important to my community. So that sometimes is a bit that gets me. Not the individuals that have been nominated, but those who've taken the time to make the nomination. And again, it's not a long process. It doesn't take hours and hours. You can do it in just a few minutes.
Yeah,
but
very simple.
It is, it's inspiring. And I'm an emotional guy. What can I say?
God, I'm going to be such a wreck.
I cry at the end of Trains, Planes and Automobiles, blimey.
I've been filming weddings for 20 years. I cry at every speech I'm filming. I hide behind the camera screen like this, and she's looking over and going, oh, no, not again.
more tissue.
Yeah, I'm a nightmare. So I'm going to be a nightmare there that night as well. So, excellent, guys. So, anything else, Rachel, you got on your list?
No, I think I've ticked off everything. Just obviously the Courage and Bravery Award as well. That is a big category. And
they're all big categories, Rachel. We've been through this.
This is one that supports celebrating a wide achievement of people who have been through so much in their lives and overcome these things and still do amazing things. And that is very impressive in itself. And it's inspirational. And I think that deserves its own round of applause, really.
Where are you going with that?
It wasn't a question.
Okay. It was a statement. Okay, excellent.
Is it worth just, we've talked about 2 or 3 of the different categories. Is it worth just running through now?
All the categories.
And maybe
Matt
would like to do that, because if by magic, Matt might have the list right. Spoiler alert.
I haven't got this to memory, but I have got it on here. So we have Outstanding Fundraiser, Community Impact, Courage and Bravery, Kindness in Action, Environment Hero, School Community Award, Volunteer of the Year, Inspiring Youth Under 18, and of course the Sarah Clark Award, which we're so proud to sponsor at the KM.
And of course, the overall winner, which will come from maybe one of those winners, maybe not. We'll see.
Right.
We'll be part of that conversation. That won't be a podcast. That will be a behind closed doors conversation.
Yes,
argument.
Absolutely.
No. Healthy debate. Healthy debate.
It must get quite heated when someone says this, on the judging panel?
None of that. There was consensus. Everyone was happy. Maybe that will change it. Maybe the new sponsors will shake it up.
Are you planning on shaking things up?
Right.
You only do that towards me.
The thing is, we have to have a discussion and actually agree on something.
We have to have a discussion. That's the thing that's worrying me.
But please, again, tell us how they can find Pride in Medway, how they can get involved, how they can...
Yeah, it really is as simple as going online and going to prideinmedway.co.uk. All the details are there, all the categories with a description of what we're looking for, and then just fill out the entry form.
We'll also add a link to the video, so you'll be able to see a link come up. But also at the end of this podcast, you'll see a QR code, which you can also scan and get straight to the entry.
And the nomination closes on the 17th of January.
That's right.
So please make sure you get everything in before then. And the award ceremony is on the 4th of April.
That's it.
And I want to recognise as well that Matt's newspaper and website does a great job of kind of highlighting, both in the run-up to the awards and, of course, the event itself on the 4th of April. Obviously, I buy every edition. I'm in podcast mode. Every edition of the Medway Messenger, and I'd encourage everybody listening to do that. But even if you don't buy every copy, I would certainly recommend the ones around the Pride in Medway Awards. So the stories there are phenomenal. And I say particularly the coverage of the gala event on the 4th of April.
Okay.
Superb. Right, guys, as we're wrapping up, we always ask our guests if they've got a song that they not want to sing. Don't panic, Matt.
What's going on? This has got off at tangent, hasn't it?
We have a playlist, and you can pick a song to put it on your playlist. A lot of people go with their first dance just to keep the wife happy. But you didn't know, Vince, didn't you? What did you go with? Some heavy metal.
I picked a really sad song because it's from my mum's funeral.
Oh, right, okay.
But I'm not going to pick that today, don't worry.
Oh, God, you've put me on the spot here.
You could base it on Pride of Medway somehow. Musical Youth, I don't know.
I don't know. I'd probably.
You know what? You're right.
That's all right.
Oh, good. I'll probably go back to my early 20s, Oasis and Wonderwall.
Wonderwall. Can't be a bit of Wonderwall.
Just for clarity, none of the Pride in Medway winners get Oasis tickets. We should probably say that as
I don't think anyone in Medway gets Oasis tickets.
There's a press story. 227,000 in the queue. There we go.
I was 350,000.
There we go. We're all suffering the pain.
I got one of those callbacks for the next session because one website crashed and I got a callback, still didn't get through. So
we were all robbed. Who wants to go see Oasis when you can come to the Pride of Medway?
We saw their last gig though. That was one of our first dates. Their last gig.
Oh, really?
Kasabian were very good that night.
They were but I went to see The Enemy, who never turned up.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, they never turned up. Never mind.
So I'm going to pick two songs. It's a double A-side. It almost certainly won't be on Spotify, but I'll send you both the.
You always give me a hard one.
I'll send you both the YouTube links. So back in the early 80s, Hazel Dean produced
He loves his music.
Produced a double A-side funded by, I think, the Medway Economic Development thing. So it's on vinyl. If you go on YouTube, and I'll send you both the YouTube links, it's a double A-side. It's both songs about Medway.
Really?
And they're really good.
Okay.
They're really good. Doesn't feature in Hazel Dean's discography. I think she's from Essex. She's not even from Medway.
You're not selling this sense.
But no, they're great, and I love them. So I would have both of them. My favourite is probably Medway. That's where I want to be, because I always want to be here, because I love this place. But yeah, check those two out. But they won't be on a Spotify list because they're not on Spotify. Unless someone can put them on Spotify, make that happen. Is that something Cherrywood?
Thank you so much, Vince, for giving me.
There's a campaign to be
You could have just gone for another Oasis song.
No. I picked Blur. I was always Blur versus Oasis. I
liked them both, to be honest.
Yeah, it was absolutely allowed. That's acceptable.
Loved them both. That's it, I think. Thank you all so much.
Thanks for having us.
No, it's always lovely to see you. We'll have you on again, and we'll have you on again.
Yeah, let's see.
We'll have you on just by yourself.
Yeah.
So you get a word in.
Yeah.
I don't mean it.
Yeah, that would be good.
It'd be lovely to talk about your career in depth, and also those South African stories would be superb.
Yeah, I can tell you, but you won't believe me.
That's all right. we'll leave it for the listeners to decide.
Okay, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. And like, share, subscribe, the usual rubbish that I say at the end of every podcast, and forget mainly. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay. And remember, pride of Medway. Pride in Medway. Oh, my goodness. Pride in Medway. And the QR will be straight after this. Thank you.
Club Awesome, for autistic children and their families, a place where everyone belongs and fun knows no age limit.